Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have my iced coffee because I need the caffeine to get through the intense pile of books that I want to talk to you about. So today's video is going to be a very large book haul. This is my summer book haul. Summer is coming to a close now, and I spent a lot of time in bookshops during the summer and I got a lot of different books. So I just wanted to share them with you and show you all of the books that I purchased in the summer. As you can see, my bookshelf behind me is in disarray because I have pulled down all of the books that I got. I'm going to go month by month for this haul. So this is the June stack that I'm going to show you now, and then I will put those back and pull the July stack, etc. So that's the plan, and without further ado, let's get into the book haul. So I'm breaking the June section because I purchased the most books in June. I'm breaking it into read versus unread because I did read quite a few of the books that I got right away. So the first book that I got is The Pisces by Melissa Broder, which I know I have talked about lots of times, and I actually read this twice on audio before I even had a physical copy, but someone on Instagram was selling their copy, and it was this beautiful hardcover copy, so I figured I would snag it. It was like $4 for this hardcover copy, and it's a book that I think about on a weekly basis at the minimum. I think about it all the time. I love this book, though for some reason this is still a 4-star. Can't tell you why, but in my mind it's still a 4-star. But honestly, like I said, I think about it all the time, and I really wanted it to be part of my collection. So I had an opportunity to get it for pretty cheap, so obviously I snagged it. Next up, I have Come Rain or Come Shine, which is a short story by Kazu Ishiguro. I read Clara and the Sun right after picking it up in May and absolutely loved it, so of course I ordered some other Ishiguro. Moving right along, we have Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin, which I just actually finished. So I'm not going to tell you a ton about this because I will talk about it in depth in my August wrap-up. I did really like it. The cover is super interesting. And in June, I also purchased Breasts and Eggs by Miko Kawakami, which I have talked about extensively at this point, and it's one of my favorite books of 2021, definitely. I loved this book. It started a trend of Kawakami's works for me. So yeah, highly recommend this one if you're interested in discussions of motherhood and feminism and what it means to be a mother. Really great book, and I got this one in June. And then finally in the read pile, I got Lester by Raven Leilani, which I read pretty much right after purchasing it, gave it a 4-star, did really enjoy it. And that's all for the read books that I got in June. And then I sort of have two like transitionary books. This is Unwell Women by Eleanor Clayhorn that I purchased in June, and I'm about halfway through the book but still haven't finished it. And then I have this edition of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott that my family got for me when they went to a bookstore. And this is a transitionary book because I have not read this copy, but I have read Little Women in the past, and it's a really beautiful edition. I love the gold. So yeah, I got this in June as a gift, but I did not read this physical copy. So moving into the actually unread books I got in June, I have Because They Wanted To by Mary Gateskill. This is a book that I got because I've read 2 other Mary Gateskill books and absolutely loved them, especially This Is Pleasure, which was kind of a novella that I read first. That was the first Gateskill I read, and then I read another short story collection of hers. So I got this one because I just wanted more of her work, and I didn't pick it up right away, so it's still sitting on my TBR. I didn't pick it up right away, but it's okay. I have it so I can read it whenever I'm ready for more Gateskill. And then I have this book that I'd never heard of until I walked into a bookshop, and it is Territory of Light by Yuko Tsushima, I think. It's a translated book published by Picador, and it looked really interesting. It looked kind of unreliable female main character-esque, which is a genre that I really enjoy. So yeah, it looks pretty short, and I just haven't picked it up because it's not like on the top of my TBR, but I'm sure that when I read this, I will really enjoy it. Then I have another Japanese translated book, and that is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikuko Sumera. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a book about a woman who is in a rut with jobs and just wants to find something easy that she can easily do, and it's really, as the title suggests, not that simple. So yeah, I'm sure that I will really enjoy this, but it is very thick and it is a bit intimidating because I don't usually read books that are this thick. It's really not that bad. I just have such a fear of like any book over like 400 pages. And you know, honestly, this isn't even 400 pages, so I don't know what my problem is, but I will read it eventually. It's just not like top priority right now. And then I have another Ishiguro, and that is Never Let Me Go. This really, really beautiful edition that I ordered specifically because of this edition. The American edition is not great. I think this is the British edition, and I just had to have it because it was so pretty. This is the book that is considered Ishiguro's like magnum opus work. It sounds very interesting and kind of a little bit dark academia, so I'm excited to get into this one. Definitely want to read this one soon. All right, getting through the June stack. We have Girls of a Certain Age, short stories by Maria Adelman, I think. This is a book that I will admit I just picked up at Barnes & Noble and was like, yeah, that sounds good. I don't even remember what it's about. It's a bunch of short stories about womanhood. Sounded right up my alley, and the cover was super intriguing, so I decided to pick it up. Still haven't read it, but I always love short story collections, especially ones that discuss female identity, so I think this will be a win for me. Next up, I have the book that I'm actually picking up next, and that is The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imimura. This was on my WIT month, or Women in Translation month TBR, so I definitely want to get to this one next. It's about obsession and watching someone, and it just sounds super creepy and like it'll get under my skin, so very excited about this. Next up, I have a book that I saw all over social media, and that is Somebody's Daughter by Ashley C. Ford. This is a memoir that just sounded super, super interesting, and though it's not something that I think I'm going to get to in the near future, I definitely want to pick this one up soon because it just sounds super interesting, and I don't read a lot of memoirs, so it might be something nice to kind of change up my reading a little bit and read a different genre. And then finally for June, I have Heaven, also by Miko Kawakami. This is her most recent release in English. This follows two characters that become friends because they're both bullied in school. Like I said, I haven't read this one yet, but I'm excited to get into some more Kawakami because I loved Breast and Eggs so much. Okay, we got through June. June was the majority of the books that I bought. I went a little crazy in June because I went to a lot of bookstores with my friend. So I went a little overboard, but July really slowed down, and I will tell you that I only purchased one book in August, so I've been doing better. So let's do the same kind of thing we did for June. I'm gonna show you the read books that I purchased in July 1st. First up is Magma by Thora. I still don't know how to pronounce her last name. This is an Icelandic author, and this book was translated to English and published in July, and I had had my eye on this book for months. It sounded right up my alley, it sounded incredible, and I finally was able to get a copy because it was just released. I read this one as soon as I got it in the mail. I annotated all over this book. There's so many pages that are just absolutely covered in my handwriting. I loved this book. It was a 5-star read. Please read this. There are a lot of hard topics in this book, so definitely look that up before you pick it up. But oh my god, this was so good, and I got it in July and immediately picked it up. So yeah. Okay, next I have The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. I just finished this one last night, so I'm not gonna tell you everything I think about it because I'm gonna make you wait until my August wrap up, but I did enjoy parts of it. I will say that. But this is an Italian translated piece, and it's about motherhood, so all of those things kind of ticked boxes for me. I'd never read an Italian translated book before, and I love books about motherhood, so I will tell you more about my thoughts on this in my wrap up, but I purchased this one in July. And then finally, another 5-star read is Mostly Dead Things by Kristen Arnett, which I also talked about in my July wrap up. Oh my goodness, this book was incredible. I was not expecting to love it so much, but I did. It makes me so happy to get a book in the mail and pick it up like very soon after you receive it, because that doesn't happen a lot for me, honestly. And it happened with Magma, and it happened with this one. And also kind of with Days of Abandonment. I picked it up pretty soon after I bought it at Barnes & Noble. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun, but highly recommend Mostly Dead Things. Loved it. And those are all of the red books that I purchased in July. Oy, okay. Let's get into the unread books that I purchased in July. First of which is Florida by Lauren Groff. This is actually kind of a funny story. So I've seen on Instagram all of these posts that talk about like what book to recommend for different zodiac signs, and the one that came up for mine often actually was Florida, which I'm a Taurus, so this is what came up all the time for Taurus. So there was that, and there was also the fact that I read Mostly Dead Things, and that was set in Florida, and I'm going to be taking a trip to Florida later in the year, so I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it be so cool to have a whole thematic situation? Like, read Florida while I'm in Florida and then be able to talk about books set in Florida. I'm such a nerd, I realize. Like, I need everything to be thematic. I want to have a theme for everything. Everything has to, like, come together in an interesting way. But I thought it would be really interesting. So, yeah, I got this one for those myriad reasons. So a very exciting book came out in July, and of course I picked it up immediately, and that is The Letters of Shirley Jackson, which is edited by her son Lawrence Jackson Hyman. This is basically, as it says, a huge collection of all of the letters that Shirley Jackson wrote. And these kind of books have been coming out quite a bit lately, of like Sylvia Plath's letters and Flannery O'Connor's letters, and like all these authors, all of their sort of correspondences and everything are being collected, and they're like little bits and tidbits of writing that they never published are being collected and published now, which I think is really cool. So I was so excited to find that they were doing that with Shirley Jackson, and the cover is so perfect for her, like the house, and it's just perfect. This is a giant book, and I cannot promise you that I will read this anytime in the near future, but as I've discussed, I have a Shirley Jackson collection of her works and works that are adjacent to her, so this fits in obviously with that, so I had to have this, but I don't know that this is going to be something that I'm going to like read front to back immediately. Okay, I have 3 hardcovers to round out July that I am so excited about, and I might have to sort of go away from my Whit Month TBR a little bit, even though I don't want to do that. I also really want to, because there are a few books here that I'm so excited about, and the first of which is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. I've seen this one literally everywhere, and it was really hyped even before it came out, and now it's getting quite a bit of hype. So this sounds right up my alley. It deals with the church and identity and being a woman and just a lot of topics that I really am interested in. And the cover is just incredible. Love that cover. But yeah, I was waiting on this one for a while and immediately had to pick it up, and very excited about this one. And then I have another book that I actually stumbled upon on Goodreads kind of recently and figured I had to buy it, and that is Nobody, Somebody, Anybody by Kelly McClory. So this sounds a lot like a lot of the other like woman in her 20s trying to figure out her life, like that's the vibe, and obviously that's a vibe I'm here for, so this sounded right up my alley. The cover is kind of giving me my Year of Rest and Relaxation vibes a little bit, so I wonder if this will be kind of similar to that. Not necessarily in plot, but in like tone and themes. But yes, very excited about this one. Got this one in late July. And then finally in July, I got With Teeth by Kristen Arnett. This is the same author who wrote Mostly Dead Things. So I'd seen this one floating around before I read Mostly Dead Things and was kind of like, maybe. And then I read Mostly Dead Things and was like, oh, this author is incredible, have to read her other work. So I picked up With Teeth. It is about motherhood, I believe, which, as I said, love that theme. So I think I will really enjoy this, especially after knowing what her writing is like and loving her writing. very excited about this one. And then finally, I have the one book that I purchased in August. Thus far, it's not the end of August yet, but I'm gonna call it, and that is All's Well by Mona Awad. So this is the book that I'm probably going to be diverting from my TBR for. I am so excited about this one. I read Bunny earlier in the year. That's Mona Awad's other book, her very, very popular book, and it was so weird and so out there. I don't have a copy of that one. I would like to buy one eventually, but this book is basically, I think, a really twisted story about a theater company who's trying to put on the play All's Well That Ends Well. So that sounded super interesting. And Mona Awad's style is, it's so weird and gross that you can't look away and you somehow love it anyway, if that makes any sense. So I think I'll really enjoy this one. The cover, oh my goodness, that cover. Like, they're all little pills. How interesting is that? But this was the book that I got in August. It came out on August 4th, I believe, and I immediately picked it up. So that is my Hot Book Summer book haul. Thank you for sticking around through this chaos of books. I got so many books this summer, but there's so many that I'm very excited to read. Please let me know if you got any books this summer, and if not, what books are you excited to get? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!